Welcome all of you to my channel. Today we are going to talk about a Tamil crime thriller movie called Siragan, which was released in the year 2024. And I hope you will definitely like the story of this movie. The story begins with a girl named Komal who was alone at her home. Then he realized the presence of someone around him. Before the helpless Komal could understand anything, an unknown person secretly enters her house, attacks Komal and kills her. The next day, the police started investigating Komal's house to find out what happened there last night. Upon investigation, they find fingerprints of a human being who might be around 21 to 22 years of age. Moreover, Komal died due to poison and not because of attack. That's why the police suspect that Komal might have committed suicide. Meanwhile, police officer Murali sees a packet of chewing gum there, which a neighboring child immediately takes and says, "This is mine." Now Murali does not pay much attention to what the child says and goes away. Then we are shown a scene after a few days, where we see an MLA named David whose son George was missing for the last 3 days. And that is why he is very worried about his son. David also calls his assistant Punit to know whether anything has been found about his son or not. But Punit does not pick up his call. As Murali moves ahead, a man named Kalidas comes in front of his car. Kalidas was very scared and he said to Inba, "Sir, please save me. Some people attacked my friend and killed him brutally. They wanted to kill me too, but somehow I escaped from there." Hearing this, Murali immediately goes to Kalidas's friend, who is none other than MLA David. Along with him, a man named Joseph was also lying dead there. Murali interrogates Kalidas as to how all this happened. Kalidas tells that some time ago David and Joseph all three had gathered to drink alcohol. Meanwhile, David was looking quite worried. He told that while coming, 3 people attacked him, and with great difficulty he has saved his life and come here. Then I asked him who could attack you, but before he could say anything, Joseph took out the gun and killed David. Seeing this, I lost my senses and I was not able to understand anything. Then 3 more people came there who wanted to kill David. Maybe Joseph and those 3 were together. It is possible that all 3 of them together might have killed Joseph. And then it's also possible that one among those 3 might have killed Joseph, because he was also dead there. Here we see Punit, whom a police officer named Ganesh comes to interrogate. He asks, "When did David last call you? And why didn't you pick up the phone when he called?" Punit says the panipuri vendor fed me such panipuri that my stomach has been upset for the last 3 days. I couldn't even get out of the bathroom, so how could I pick up the phone? On the other hand, George's friend Raju is seen taking Murali somewhere on a bike. As soon as he tries to talk to him, Raju runs away from there. Murali also follows him, but to no avail. Raju slips out of his hand. Now Murali's suspicion was on Raju. Here an officer named Salam comes to Kalidas with another companion of his. He had come here to know whether what Kalidas said was true or a lie. Therefore, Salam's friend somehow injects Kalidas, which makes Kalidas intoxicated. And this intoxication was such that if any question was asked to him while he was intoxicated, he would give the correct answer. And in a drunken state, Kalidas replies that Joseph had shot at David. This now convinces Salam that Kalidas is telling the truth. Next we see a scene from some time before where Kalidas was talking to the same 3 goons who had attacked David. From his words it becomes clear that those 3 goons were not Joseph's men but Kalidas' men. And through him Kalidas wanted to kill David, because due to him Kalidas's only daughter Neela is in coma. It was he who sent the panipuri vendor to Punit to keep him away from David. And this gives the 3 goons a chance to kill David. But all we know is that David escaped from the clutches of the 3 goons. And after running away, Joseph shoots him and kills him. But here Kalidas was just diverting the attention of the policeman, because it was his plan to kill David. But Joseph did this because he too had some enmity with David. And Kalidas did not have to do anything. His path became clear automatically. Now it's shown why Joseph hated David so much. Actually, the thing was that Joseph loved Kalidas's daughter Neela very much. But Neela was beaten badly by David's son George along with his friends, due to which she went into coma. Now David was an MLA, and if his son George does this then he cannot spoil his name. That's why he threatened Joseph's father to go to Kalidas and confess that Joseph had unintentionally hit Neela with a car, which left her in coma. And because David and Kalidas were very good friends, if Kalidas comes to know that David's son George did this to his daughter, Kalidas will get very angry, and this will turn their friendship into enmity. That is why David wanted to put this allegation on Joseph. Joseph is forced to take the responsibility of David's son's crime on his father's request. But in reality, he could never do this, that he would take the blame on himself for the people who had put the person he loved in such a condition. And because of this anger, Joseph shot David. While shooting this same, Callidas was also completely unaware that the work he had come here to do was already done by Joseph. And now his path was also completely clear. Now let us see the scene of that time when Callidas came to know who had done this to his daughter. Then as soon as Neela hears David's voice on the phone, tears come to her eyes. From this, Kalidasa understands that David is responsible for Neela's condition. So he planned to kill David, whereas all this was done by David's son George. Now let us watch again the scene when Joseph shot David. Those 3 people had come there who were actually Kalidas's goons. Seeing the gun in Joseph's hand, he understood that Joseph wanted to kill Kallidas, and so they killed Joseph. Then Kallidas tells him to run away from here immediately. I don't want to get involved in all this. Even though I had come with the intention of killing David, Joseph himself made my job easy by removing David from my path. Now you guys just have to not get caught by the police, otherwise I will get caught. All 3 of them agree to this. Now the story comes to the present, and we see George, whose disappearance was due to none other than Kalidasa. George's friend Raju was also involved with him. Callidas had kept them both captive in his house because from George's ID card found in Neela's bag, Callidas had come to know that these people were also responsible for his condition, and that is why Callidas kidnapped both of them. But it is still not clear why George did this to Neela. Now to know this, the story is again shown from a few months back. There we see Neela, who is a very calm and kind person, and she was living a beautiful life with her father. Neela is a school teacher and she always donates half of her salary to an orphanage for orphan children. That is why the children there considered her as their sister and were very happy on her arrival. George and Raju both study in the same school where Neela used to teach. Among them, Raju is learning hacking, and he can easily hack anyone's mobile. That's why one day George gets his teacher Pyle's mobile phone so that at night he and Raju can listen to all the conversations that happen around that phone. And not just this, George and Raju will be able to see the live footage of Pyle by turning on her mobile camera without her knowing. Now both of them start keeping an eye on their teacher Pyle. And with this, he started knowing every single moment of Pyle's conversation with her husband Nandu, even theirs. Now one day George tells Pyle about this. And after hearing this, the poor girl is shocked as to how someone is getting to know about her privacy. She goes away crying. Now since George was the son of an MLA, no one could harm him. Now as soon as Neela comes to know about this, she gets very angry. And she calls George near her and slaps him again and again. She even confiscates his ID. And because of this ID, Callidas came to know that along with David, his son was also responsible for his daughter's condition. Now George becomes completely upset with this insult. And he immediately calls his father and asks him to send goons so that he can teach the teacher a lesson. So David sends Punith to talk to the teacher about why she slapped George. But Neela does not tell Punith and his goons about George's action, because this could have caused further insult to Pyle. Meanwhile, Neela overhears Punith's phone conversation with David. And this was the reason why when Neela heard David's voice on her father Kalidas's phone, she started crying, from which Kalidasa came to know that David was also responsible for his condition. Now when Neela does not tell the reason, Punith's goons pick up a big stick and hit Neela on the head. And because of this, blood starts coming from his head. By then Neela chases Pyle away from there. And when those goons realize that they have hit Neela hard, they all immediately run away from there. Now Neela somehow reaches the orphanage in this condition, where the sister calls Callidas and tells him everything. Callidas immediately arrives there and gets Neela admitted to the hospital, but by then she had gone into coma. Now again in the present we see that Callidas frees George and Raju, but he had a trick in this too. As soon as both of them run away from there, a biker starts chasing them who had come there with the intention of killing them. And after chasing them for a long time, he finally kills them. As soon as the police and Murali come to know about this, they immediately reach the crime scene and send those bodies for post-mortem. Now let us see this scene of that time where Pyle was in a bad condition after Neela went into coma, because she was holding herself responsible for Neela's condition. Also, this Pyle was none other than Murali's sister, who is busy solving Komal and David's case. As soon as he came home, the door of the house was closed. When Murali looks inside through the window, he is shocked to see the scene inside, because Pyle committed suicide by hanging herself from the fan. Maybe she couldn't bear Neela's condition, so she killed herself. But this leaves poor Murali absolutely devastated. Now in the present, Murali remembers that he had seen a packet of chewing gum at Komal's house. That's why he comes to Komal's house again. And he asked the neighbor's child, "You had said that the chewing gum was yours." On this the child tells that chewing gum was given to me by a brother who had 6 fingers in his hands. Hearing this, Murali is surprised that George also had 6 fingers on his hand. This clearly means that the one who killed Komal was none other than George. Now the story starts again some time back, where George and Raju both were hacking Komal's mobile. But Komal comes to know about this. Komal threatens them and says, "If you do this again, then I will complain to the police." Hearing this, George's anger knows no bounds and he goes to Komal's house with Raju. And when he was beating Komal, at that very moment the child sees all this and gets scared. At that time, George gives him chewing gum and says, "Don't tell anything to anyone or else I will kill you too." The child agrees at that time. But children are innocent. Now the story comes to the present where Payal's husband Nandu calls Murali and says that the person you are looking for and who has killed George and Raju is actually none other than me. Before dying, Joseph told me what George and Raju did to Payal. And while trying to save Payal, poor Nilo went into coma. Then I started planning that I would not hand over George and Raju to the police at any cost. I'd rather kill him with my own hands. Meanwhile, I met Kalidas, who had captured George and Raju. He wanted to kill them himself, but I requested him to leave them both for me. I want to kill them with my own hands. Then as soon as both of them ran away from Kalidas's house, I followed them on my bike. Now here it becomes clear that actually the biker was Nandu who was behind George and Raju. And he killed both of them. Now Nandu asks Murali to forgive him. I had no other option but to teach them a lesson. I have avenged both my wife and your sister. And now if you want, you can come here and arrest me and your entire case will be solved. Now Murali was a bit surprised to hear this. But at the same time, he was also happy that his sister got justice. Now, due to losing his sister, Murali did not have the courage to fight this case. That's why Salam was handling this case, which got solved today. And it was revealed what was the real reason behind Payal's suicide. Now, even though Nandu had taken his revenge, it was a crime in the eyes of the law. After which Murali puts Nandu in jail. And this story ends with this scene. If you like the story, then please like the video and subscribe to the channel, so that you do not miss the story of similar upcoming movies. Thank you for staying with the story till the end.